All of us are dressed as characters, or we represent characters from TLZA. Some are pretty obvious, some are a little more obscure. The echo's gone. Praise Keo. Um, Once you all guess who we are, we're gonna play the Void War trailer. Chili Penguin Studios, you got me. I am Kevin. This is my big robot eye. Good job. You're the mage girl? Nope. So, while you guys are guessing, I'm going to keep checking the stream to make sure. I wanted us to go around and just introduce ourselves in case you guys viewing see any faces you're maybe not as familiar with. So why don't we start with, I'm obviously Christian. I run the channel. There's not much more to say there. And this is the Twisted Bricks family, or at least a good part of it here on the screen with me. So Matt, why don't you kick it off next?
All right, yeah, so I am Matt Poppy. Some people are guessing Cool Scorpion, Wingman Productions. Yes, I am Slade. I am the voice of Slade. I have been from the beginning. But other than that, I am also an assistant producer in the TLZA stuff. Good job, Cool Scorpion. You were right. I've been involved with this stuff since. It's like the third video you've done. Hey, Adam.
Adam, we can hear you. Yeah, you've been involved since high school. No, I guess it'd be a little bit later.
Right after. I think it was. Yeah, I think. Freshman year of college. Yeah.
Awesome. Right on. I see a few people are guessing correctly and some not so correctly. Everybody thinks Johan. Everybody thinks you're Joe. Johan is not Joe. Johan is it's kind of a deep cut. So massive kudos to whoever can figure it out. Let's see. Somebody did get the evil sorcerer from season 2. I'm sure they're referencing you, Adam. Why don't you go next? Just introduce yourself. Once everybody guesses who we are, we're going to play the Void War trailer. But we are going around and introducing ourselves and saying just kind of how we're connected to Twisted Bricks. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. I know I'm a little late, but I got here, tried to dress up. My name's Adam, and I am, I don't want to say one of the newer members, but I might be to the Twisted Brick kind of universe. I was brought in at the end of season 1 as a voice actor for, I forget his name, but he was a scientist who was just kind of...
Overbeck.
Overbeck, yep, absolutely. And then since then, I've just been kind of picked up for random little parts here and there, just throughout the series. And since then, I've also been assisting with the movie itself, which is very exciting, kind of as like a acting director / casting and helping with the writing and everything. So it's all been a wonderful time. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the whole production thing. Yep.
Awesome, dude. And people did guess your costume correctly. I'm curious whether anybody in the chat can remember that character's name. They just said the evil sorcerer. What's the sorcerer's name? Because that's also, again, kind of a deep cut. I'm going to take this off now. You guys can, once your costume is guessed, you can feel free to take that stuff off, but not necessary if you really like it.
It's really comfortable.
It does look pretty cozy.
It's pretty cozy.
All right.
I think we got Johans.
Yeah, a lot of people have actually gotten Johans, which I am impressed with. Johan, who is your character and who are you?
Yeah, like Captain Kilroy said, I'm the traveling salesman, the weapon salesman, Bert, the weapon salesman. But in real life, I'm Johan. I'm Christian's brother. So I've witnessed the evolution of the Twisted Bricks universe from the very beginning. And I'm also the person who writes all the music, the soundtrack. So that's my big connection. And over Christmas break, I was working hard on putting some music together for the new movie. So that is me.
Heck yeah, dude. Thank you, Johan. It's so good to have you here. This is your first time on a live stream, isn't it?
It sure is.
God, what a big day. All right, well, we're just going to keep moving up now, upwards. Max, a lot of people have guessed your character correctly. I want to give you an A+ on your execution there. Who are you, and who are you?
I was Matt for an hour ago, and I'm Max. I'm a stop motion creator and spontaneous voice actor for Twisted Bricks and the Lego Zombie Apocalypse.
That is perfect. Yep. And I have more on kind of people who have watched the channel and watched all the face-to-face videos and live streams will have a pretty good idea of who you are, but I am going to go into it a bit more later. But more on that later. You guys guessed it all correctly. So now I am going to play the Void War trailer, the latest trailer. So get ready for the trailer in 3, 2, 1.
Eternal Kyo, we call upon you in these dark hours. Huxley, I have an emergency assignment for you.
A combat assignment?
A security detail on ship.
So you're our freshly wounded protector, huh? You aren't the type to get trigger happy, are you?
Only with due reason, ma'am.
What if he is mostly human and he could be healed?
There's no cure for Slag. You know that.
What is the last thing you can recall?
I told you, I don't remember.
Is that safe?
What?
This is the command deck. I'm initiating protocol SG. Slag has infected the command floor and is spreading fast.
They can't make it! There's no way.
We're not alone in here.
Everybody underestimates Slag. You can't stop the spread. That's why Protocol SG exists.
I swear to Cred if they brought Slag onto our ship.
We don't know, Lieutenant.
You don't know?
What are you?
Run.
All right. So there you have it. You guys all, you can unmute yourselves, of course. The Void War coming this March, God willing. Thank you. All right, looks like it's popping off in the chat. I'm glad you guys liked it. Creating a trailer is a very weird thing to do because you don't want to give away too much information. You have to use all these random clips and figure out the best way to put them together. Average Slag fan versus Crozox enjoyer. That's freaking funny. So let's see if there's any questions. Again, this is a kind of ongoing Q&A. If anybody in the audience has questions for any of us specifically or just us in general, feel free to ask them. We would love to, have a dialogue with you. I see John Smith says, do you think you could do some build tutorials afterwards? The brick artillery mech from the trailers looks sick. I definitely plan on having a lot of kind of behind the scenes and tutorial content made available. Most of it will be available on Patreon, but I definitely will throw out some free stuff there as well. How long has this been in the making? Adam and Matt, I'm curious, do you guys remember when our first kind of get together to discuss the plot for the movie was?
Oh boy.
Was that 2020?
It was, I believe.
It was a summer, I know, because you were back home from college, I'm pretty sure. I found a notebook that had I wrote down all the characters and their roles and stuff like that. Yeah, I'd like to. I think Adam was right. It could have been 2020, maybe even. Yeah, 2020 probably.
It has to be 2020. I'm pretty certain with that. Normal Man says, how did you come up with the ideas and concepts? And I feel like I kind of came to you guys with a general idea of what I wanted the story to be. You know, we wanted Slade in there. Really, the only thing we were certain of from the very, very beginning is that it was going to be in the year 3044, way in the future. Humanity is in a war with Slag, and Slade is revived. So I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but it was interesting because I feel like we really went into it on a character-based sense, where we first focused on figuring out who the characters were, what their motivations were, and where to go from there. Would you guys say that's accurate? Or
That was very important to you, because I remember when you first came to me with when we first met up to like discuss the script and stuff, and you had all of the characters with their like Enneagram numbers.
Yeah.
Was that correct?
That is correct. I don't know if any.
I remember that, and so it definitely came at it from a character side, and then the story, absolutely kind of built itself around it.
Yeah. For those who don't know, the Enneagram is kind of like the Myers-Briggs personality test. It's just this like personality profiler, and I tried to include various personality types in the movie, so it would be a balanced cast. So that's kind of where we started there. Mm-hmm. What frames per second is the film? I'm curious, any of you guys, do you know what frames per second I use for everything now?
90?
Not quite. That'd be a lot to take in.
15.
15 is correct, Max. Good job. You nailed it. I'm curious, Max, what frames FPS do you typically use on your animations? I should know this, honestly, but
15 also, but I started 15 in summer. I was a sucker for 24 frames, but I think 15 looks so much better because it's the frame rate of animation like Rick and Morty or in every anime you could watch. And I think stop motion looks the best when it feels like animation and not like living, breathing things.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. See, a few more questions. Who does the builds? I do design the builds on, many of them I design them on Mechabricks digitally first, and then from there I go into I'll order the pieces I need and then build them. I am curious also, I was going to kind of have this with our introductions, but everybody who's on the Zoom call right now, do any of you have a favorite TLZA memory that you want to share? It can be, again, literally anything from just a part of the series, or it could be something that you did or an interaction you had or anything like that. Does anything come to mind for any of you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I remember strictly when we were doing the casting for Twisted Bricks and Gray Horizon, and Zach came in.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, "Oh, wait, are you guys the Twisted Bricks?" And of course, Christian's like, "Yeah, that's us." He's like, "With the YouTube channel?" "Yeah, no, that's us. And he's like, "My son watches you." And that's gonna stick with me forever. That was such a special moment. It was just like, what a small world, just knowing, the reach of the channel. I imagine that felt great for you, Christian. Because it was just such a neat moment.
Yeah, it's pretty unreal. Even when I was back in Grand Forks last year, my boss of my day job, he said that his daughter knew my channel. It is just the craziest thing to hear stuff like that. But the full movie has like 6.5 million views now, so obviously you're going to run into some people now and then that have seen it or know someone who's seen it. So any other memories you guys want to share before we go into some fan recognition here?
I have one. It's actually I think it's Leg and Leland, and Wingman Productions had a question for me how I ended up joining you, and that's one of my my memories. I started voice acting, and a friend of mine, we watched all the Twisted Bricks stuff on GLDA, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to write this channel and asked if I can voice a character. And my best friend was like, this will not happen. You will never get an answer. And I wrote you wrote back like a week later, and I was like, you know what, I will speak a character. And he was like, no way. And then I voiced the crazy scientist, and my friend still sometimes sends me like gifts from the scientist with my voice.
Really?
I still can't believe it.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's it was so. you know, and it's always like, I have a lot of people reach out to me, be like, hey, can I voice for you? And some usually I'm like, I have too much on my plate right now to really respond to this. But with you, I like looked at your stuff and I was like, this guy is like really, it was obvious that you went after your creative pursuits with some real vigor. So I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try. And obviously it worked out very well.
Thank you for doing so.
Of course. I'm curious, again, I got to ask for these deep cuts. Do any of you guys, or does anybody in the live chat know what the name of the crazy soldier was? Because he has a name, and it might even be like in the original wiki on Twisted Bricks. Or people on the Discord server might know after like ridiculously detailed lore discussions. But if anybody knows it, type it in. It's not Maxwell. No, we did not go with Max's name.
This is from episode 5, right, of the first
Yep,
season?
season 1, episode 5.
I know the name just because there's a song in the soundtrack that's named.
What's his name, Johan?
I'm pretty sure, I don't think I make a mistake. Jackson, is that the name?
Oh, shoot, maybe it is. Now,
Oh boy.
why do I have the name Dominic Ferber stuck in my head? Where did that come
I've
from?
never heard that name.
Oh, jeez. Maybe Jackson's his middle name. I don't know. We'll have to resolve this off screen. Anyway, I think Jackson is right. You would know. Next up, I do want to give some fan recognition, and we haven't done too many shout-outs. You know, I see a lot of familiar names in the chat, and it's so incredible to see these names pop up again, live stream after live stream. Brick Horizon Films, E-Motion, Choppereras, you know, Captain Kilroy. I can't even, I could go on and on, because we do have fans that just come back again and again. But I wanted to give some specific recognition. So, without further ado, I have 2 cards here that are specific thank yous. The first is some Discord recognition. So this is members who are very active on the Discord server. I actually took it directly from the leaderboard. So this is, you know, the top 10 people who have the highest rank. And of course, rank is based on how much you talk. But we've got Jack Bauer, who's also one of our huge art contributors, especially in the Season 2 days. He was just an art machine, and it was so incredible to see him grow and develop his skills, almost experimenting with TLZA as source material. Of course, we've got Mr. Wingman, Inverted Pizza, Drifted, Clownboy69, Smoke Mosquito 3, Brilliant Entity, CMB 1307, AT17, and Spotlight. And I know a lot of these names have changed. People change their names a lot on Discord, so they might be kind of different. But if any of those are you guys, feel free to, you know, stand up and wave, so to speak. But yeah, I appreciate all you guys do, and I know several of you are mods, and Jack Bauer himself is an admin. I'm not that good about being present on the Discord sometimes, but Jack kind of pretty much ran things for a while, and I'm so grateful for it.
I did wanna say I didn't give my favorite memory.
Yeah.
And really it's just a collection of memories, and it's just voice acting sessions. Especially anytime Slade or Drake Slade or oh man, I was a villain once. I can't remember his name, but in Season 2 I was a very snooty bad guy.
Sir Quentin.
Yeah. But anytime the characters were in pain or fighting or angry or anything, any sort of emotion and just direction from you was always so, accurate and good, but also hilarious. I don't know, just
keep it PG-13 here.
2 dudes standing in a room and you being like, all right, no, you're really feeling this right now. You gotta act hurt. You gotta so I'm just leaning against the wall and.
Yeah. My parents are upstairs overhearing weird sounds. God, I was gonna say I agree with you, Matt. Some of my favorite memories of TLZA in our whole history is voice recording sessions. I mean, they're so fun sometimes, and especially for the Void War, you know, we worked with people who I had never met. You know, Season 1 and Season 2 was all my friends who I'd known since high school, But the Void War was like new people, and it's so fascinating to, I never went to film school, but I'm having to direct. I have to direct you guys if you're not saying it in exactly the way that like I think works best. And so that was a learning experience for me as an amateur director and filmmaker. And obviously everybody we brought in were like, amateur actors, for lack of a better phrase. So it was kind of a really fun exploration to do together. I was also going to say one of my favorite memories, I don't know if anybody here remembers it, but it was the season 2 episode 5 premiere, because I think that was the one, because it had been a while since I'd posted an episode. I just remember a lot of hype around that one. So if any of you guys were there and remember it, shout out. But without any of you guys, any other memories you want to throw in before I go on to the second part of fan recognition?
Yeah, two things for me. One is, just being your brother. We have a lot, just when we get together, we just chit chat about possible directions. I have plenty of memories, especially, I don't know why, but in Norway, hiking in Norway, and just thinking about where the show could go, and once we're talking about time and what different time period would we move it to, different time periods, just all of the theorizing was endless. So that's one. And then kind of a personal TLZA memory. I do the soundtrack, so making the music. A lot of that time is just me alone making music. But most memorable episode to write the soundtrack for was the finale, the last episode of season 2, and it was just crazy because I was student teaching. I'm a middle school teacher now, U.S. history, but I was student teaching at that time, and we had, I think it was spring break. It was April. So it's spring break, I think, and I just had a week to create the soundtrack for that whole episode, and I put in 18 hours in that 1 week, and I remember one day it was just 8 hours straight of composing, and it was exhausting, but it was definitely my favorite soundtrack for the show that I put together, because all the memories were so fresh, so I could make all the connections between the tracks in that episode.
Yeah, Johan, if there's one person who has had 100% faith in the series since its inception, it's Johan, because he's been there the whole time, just literally from day one, making music since day one. And those are absolutely there's a lot of special memories there, and we collaborate a lot, and it's just such a privilege to have a brother who you can be on a team with, like a creative team with. And Johan is just a genius with music composition, and I hope to put out some content where he talks about his process, because some of you may pick up on it, so maybe subconsciously, but he gives characters themes, and then if there's a scene where two characters are interacting, their themes might interact in a musical kind of sense, or if somebody's getting corrupted, their theme, which is normally maybe heroic, might start to get a little distorted. It's this entire arithmetic of art and music that Johan does, and it's worth calling attention to. So, props, dude.
Thank you.
Also, Trimat said, "Keep it PG." The guy who has an entire series about minifigures getting brutally killed. That's a fair point, man. The channel is certainly not PG-13. So we were discussing beforehand, can we swear on this podcast or on this live stream? And we said maybe not dropping F-bombs, but you guys should, I imagine, are pretty forgiving for the lighter stuff. So we did the Discord recognition, but I also wanted to do some recognition for our universe builders. So this is excluding official contributors like CAD Productions, who couldn't be with us today, but of course CAD does a lot of awesome animations for the channel, and he's been along for a long time. But I wanted to thank you guys: Top Trooper, B&B Brick Studios, Stormy Boy, Foot Soldier 36, Captain Kilroy, who I know he's in the chat, Freefall Toaster, Slipper Slipbrick, Dakar Samara, Rodsland, and Sniker Piker, who sadly passed away last year, but he was just obsessed with the lore of the series, and he was a lot of fun to have on the Discord server, and he is sorely missed. But I wanted to thank all of you guys, because the names on this card are people who just would more than once go the extra mile to create content that expands the Twisted Bricks universe, whether it's animation or video, whether it's art or writing stories of survival. Just people who share our passion with telling this weird story. And I just am so grateful that there are people like that out there. It means so much. And so thank you guys. If you are in the chat, feel free to, again, stand up, say hi, but you guys rock. So thank you. Next up, I have a top 5 fan moments that I kind of just decided on myself. They are moments in the TLZA history that...
One second, Christian. Shout out Jonathan Hale.
Jonathan Hale. Yeah, shout out Jonathan Hale. He's a big fan. Love it. All right. Hey, Captain Kilroy, thank you for adding this. Of course, dude. Of course. I'm happy to have you along. Let's see if there's any other questions we've missed. And you guys on the Zoom call, if you see like a compelling question or something worth pointing out that I miss, feel free to just be like, hey, listen up.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Shout out Cool Scorpion.
Oh yeah, shout out Cool Scorpion.
Cool Scorpion.
Very cool. Next, we got the top 5 fan moments. So here we are. First is, of course, Max reaching out and being like, hey man, I'd love to lend my voice. And I was like, who is this German dude? And I had a character, and based on your content, I was like, I think you could probably pull this off. So I sent him the lines. He sends me back these incredible recordings of somebody who sounds just completely deranged. And I was like, okay, we're golden. This is, and then it just Max just became this well of just awesome voices for like the most random occasions. And it's been so fun to like have him participate, and he's in the Void War. And just whenever I need somebody, Max has proven to be very flexible. Because Max, don't you do pretty much like all the male voices for your series or for your own animations?
Yeah, pretty much. Not all of it's important. Like in my latest short for you, the Thanksgiving one with the Russian dad. That's an actor friend of mine.
Okay.
So for the really, really important things, I do. I have actors who come in, voice actors, voice actresses. But if I have an idea that I want to be done now, then I just do weird stuff. Like in the Apple one, I'm the policeman. I'm the policeman that responds, and I'm the guy who gets killed, and the crazy Apple guy. That's all me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And if anybody who's watched Easterwood Productions videos, you know how wild it gets. I think literally my favorite quote of any of your characters is the end of the Thanksgiving video when the guy says, and again, this is kind of a spoiler if you haven't seen it, but you should watch it. It's like, I can't understand you. All I hear is gobble, gobble. Bang! And it's just so good. And
Christian, we had a good question by CJDH19.
Oh yeah. Is the god Keo meant to refer to Kevin? Because the way they describe him sounds similar when he defeated the sorcerer. Huh. That's interesting. I have no comment. It's a very interesting fan theory.
Very interesting fan theory.
Yeah, props. Oh, and yeah, somebody said congrats on Peacemaker Easterwood. Yeah, so Max, you are like a real life filmmaker, and you just created a Western in Germany. So can you just tell us like just briefly about that, and if people want to see it, where they can see it?
Of course. Thank you for the platform. It took me 5 years to make this feature film, and it is on a festival now on the first time filmmaker lifter session. If you go to my channel, there is the trailer, and under this trailer there's a link there. You can watch it for until January 7th. It's $12, but you can watch 50 feature films for that. So I think that's a good bargain. And if you do, and if you like Peacemaker, please leave a vote. So we may be invited to the BBC.
Awesome. Dude, I'm so pumped for you. And if anybody is interested, Max shares a crazy story on set in one of our first kind of interview together on the channel. You can see it in the face-to-face playlist about almost like bleeding out on set. So I'm going to move along for the sake of just getting to everything we want to, but you guys should check out that interview, and I'll link it in the description after this video is published, because it's quite a story. When a filmmaker bleeds for his work. All right, so top 5 fan moments, number 2. This is the art of Jack Bauer. And again, I don't know, Jack Bauer, if you're in the chat, say something. But Jack just, again, he started doing fan art and sharing it on the Discord server when we kind of first got started. And it's so crazy because if you look at his first art, it's very simple and very basic. But again, through the TLZ art, you can just see him improving. Like, compare, Corin and Kevin there at the bottom to Slade on the right. And I was working on like a Void War card game, and I was working with him to kind of design these characters and maybe be the cards, and more on that later perhaps. But his character design has just gotten pretty much professional, and he's a young guy. He's like 16, I think, or maybe 17, and I'm just so curious to see where he is going to take his art. And that was, again, a relationship that evolved very organically. I just started doing art, and I was like, hey, man, let's collaborate. And just a very generous artist. So thank you, Jack Bauer. Yeah, Cool Scorpion says, the first time I saw this art, I was amazed. No joke, man. It's pretty nuts. Oh, Mr. Twisted, you admitted to forgetting about Russ's wife. When did you realize you forgot about her? So, a fun plot fact. When in season 1, in the second episode, technically, obviously the gang meets Russ and his wife, and they all kind of survive together. In the third episode, Russ and Slade show up to the bunker, and they all just are now part of a team, and they all team up. I literally forgot that Russ's wife was a character, and so I had no explanation for why she was she dead? Literally no reference to Russ's wife in the entirety of the first season, except for the one episode where she's in and doesn't say a word, and the literal last episode of the first season where she still doesn't say a word. She just shows up, and Russ has found her. So a lot of people love Russ. He's basically the Kronk of the series. And he is one of my favorite characters, and we will see more of him. I know I've said that for years now, but you haven't seen the last of Russ. Let's see. All right, what happened to General Gatner's body when the gang returns? Did they give him a burial or something? In the end, there are 2 boats, and we see the chief in one of them, but it is presumed that the general is in the other boat. They went back to the village. They found it burned to the ground, of course. But they were able to, recognize him from his remains and from the armor that he was wearing at the time. So they sent him off in a boat as well. So that is.
I had a Viking funeral in my head too.
Yep.
I didn't. Yeah. I don't even. Yeah. I don't even really remember hearing that, but that was what I was thinking was appropriate for him. So. Yep.
Well, that's how it played out. Let's see. Why do you change Slade's hair from black to orange in episode 4? Is Slade's hair ever black? I'm not sure I remember that.
He wore a helmet a lot. He wore a helmet with a black visor.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember him having the helmet off unless it was the unvoiced episodes that they're talking about.
Yeah, I wonder if it's in the first Lego Zombie movie I pretty much ever made. Slade is a character in that, and at the time I didn't know that his name was going to be Slade. They were just these unnamed characters. But maybe he has black hair in the end of that one. But I'm just retconning that because you can't expect 11-year-old Christian to get everything right from the get-go.
I did.
Yeah. Adam holds a higher standard than the average man. All right, I'll address more questions here soon, but I want to keep going with this fan recognition. And this is what I call the sunrise. And that's when Sonny Johnson came into our lives. So, Sonny, I hope you don't mind that I shared just a snippet of this email because it is what started it off. And you can see June 16th, 2020. He basically reached out and said he's a huge fan of the series. He had real passion for the storytelling aspect of the series, said it was something that made it stand out. And it was just, he was a big fan of it and wanted to help contribute. And again, I normally would not respond as openly to an email like that. But in this case, I was like, okay, you know what? Let's play ball. Let's see what happens here. What's the worst that can happen? So I asked Sonny, what's your input on where the story could go or how we could improve the storytelling? And he came back with some actually really fantastic advice. I was like, that is legitimately helpful advice. And after that, we just started communicating more on story elements, and I sent him a draft of the Void War script when it was nearing completion. And Sonny's always been very honest. He was like, it's good, I like a lot of it, but it really doesn't make sense how it ends. Like, what you have happening here happens too fast, it feels rushed, and it's not what the audience really wants to feel. It's not going to have as much of an impact. And I won't go into the details there, but basically Sonny had a huge impact in changing the way the movie ends, and basically split it into 2 movies instead of 1. And in hindsight, it's so much better for it. I have two more top 5 fan moments. I'll work through them quickly, and then we do have a highlight reel, kind of a looking back on the channel to look at or to watch. So I did want to call attention to the Stories of Survival contests. We had these were contests in which we would say, fans, make a video that takes place in the Twisted Bricks universe. It can be any character you want, totally original characters, but they just need to take place in this cinematic universe. And we had lots of incredible entries, and I wish I could call attention to them all like now, but obviously you don't really have time for that. But on the left here, this kind of wizard-looking dude, that's from the Stories of Survival 3044. That was Loft Studios' first place winning entry. I should have double-checked these to make sure, but somebody correct me if I'm wrong here. But it was called The Legend of the Forgotten Channeler. And this video was my introduction to Loft Studios. Huge shout out to him because he's an incredibly talented animator, and I can't recommend his stuff enough. Very funny too. But it was just this incredible video of a channeler fighting off a horde of slag. So highly recommend that. We also had Rodsland with his video in this middle here, The Great Unification, and that's another 3044 video. That one was actually, let's see, I think that was second place in the 3044 video, and it has some really cool like futuristic soldiers, highly recommend. And of course we had the first Stories of Survival. Max entered with his story Iceman, and just knocked it out of the park with that weird, kind of depressing but extremely well told story. So if anybody remembers Iceman, you know what I'm talking about. But I realized, I believe Cat Productions got first place in the second Stories of Survival with Stimuli. Stimuli is just incredible, and you can find all these in the Stories of Survival playlists on the channel. But there's just, again, it's so incredible to see fans expanding this universe, because it's tough for one guy to do it, but when you get a whole community making these stories, it's just so cool to see what people come up with.
Oh, I have a question. Will there be a Stories of Survival part 4?
I think there should be. One thing that I want to do, so there is, in the Gray Horizons, in the Void War timeline, there's the Outbreak. That's 2107, the year 2107. That's all the events of Season 1 are the Outbreak, when Slag comes to Earth. And then Gray Horizons takes place in 3044, like 900 years later. That's the modern day of the series. But there's so much that happened between those two things, and so many stories to tell in that kind of time frame. There is a time period called the Great Crusade, where Kyo shows up and basically helps humanity reclaim Earth, and he's this crazy psychic creature. I won't go too much into that. Who knows where he came from or who he is? I don't. But I don't know. There's a lot of history there, and hopefully the wiki will help. The new wiki I'm working on will help inform stories people tell. Why is Slag?
I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good. Keep your volume on, please.
I'll bring you guys with.
Yeah. Why is Slag called Slag? Honestly, it's hard to come up with a term for an alien that doesn't sound like complete garbage. But Slag Slag is also a word for like melted metal, basically, or like superheated metal. And Slag is kind of this gray creature that's always morphing, and it kind of seemed to work, like as a kind of like melted metal look. Unfortunately, I learned it also is a very derogatory term towards women in the UK, but I learned that after the fact, so now we know. But you know what? I'm trying to redefine the word, give it a new meaning, so we'll see if I'm successful there. And cool Scorpion, you're right. I actually did consider that Slag kind of sounds like slug, and these things have a slug-like consistency and kind of way about them. So, good job. I would pay money for a video of Joe giving us the "Just Do It" speech. Oh my God, that's got to happen. I got to make a TikTok.
I think it has to happen. Yeah.
Last top 5 fan moments. That is contributor highlights. So I wanted to call special attention to Max's work and CAD Productions' work. CAD Productions did quite a few SCP videos, which I've always wanted to do SCP videos, but I just did not have the time. He's done TLZA Omega, a few spin-offs from the TLZA universe that are really great. And then Max has done a wide variety of content for the channel. Max, I don't know how you do it. You're just an animation machine. Like the way you're like the Stephen King of gruesome horror animations. But my favorite work of yours was I don't know if I'd say by far, but I would say it would have to be Dark Fantasy. You made 2 episodes of Dark Fantasy, and fans, you might remember what that is, but they are so cool. Like, it's this bizarre, it almost seems like a side reality to the TLZA universe, in which the rules are slightly different, but you still have this like demonic slag-like creature. So I don't know, where did some of your inspirations for that come from?
Berserk for sure, the manga and the anime, I have. Oh my God, my English fails me today. I have a lot of old samurai sets, and it was a gift from my big brother a long time ago, and they were just lying around in a box, and I was like, I want to do something with them because they look great. And then I was like, I read Berserk again, and I was like, maybe a Lego Berserk would be cool, but I'm not a kind of guy who makes like animations like this Marvel trailer in Lego, because that's just not me. And I was like, maybe a Berserk theme, but something that. And I took inspiration from the Lego Zombie Apocalypse, and I knew after the first draft, this is nothing for my channel. This is something I will pitch Christian, and maybe he likes it.
Yeah, and like it, I did. But yeah, if any of you haven't seen Berserk, it's one of the most like violent, darkest anime manga I've ever seen. But it's also one of my favorite. It's so gruesome and so wonderful. I freaking love it. So again, thank you so much for making those, Max, and keep up the good work, because like the stuff you make is just so fun, and honestly, like in a weird way, it's refreshing to see brutally violent Lego content. So I'm glad you're fighting the good fight.
Thank you very much. Thanks for giving me the platform.
Of course, man.
To share my stuff, because the stop motion world in Germany is very small. And
Did you go to Steinerei? I know there's a German brick film festival. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I always forget to apply with a film of mine. But I was there twice, and if you have the time to apply with Grey Horizon, do it.
Yeah,
it's a little cinema. I think it's like 180 people, and just Lego fans sitting. It's on the big screen. It's a great thing. And yeah, but I have the feeling in Germany, these 180 people, this is the brick filming community.
Yeah.
That's not all true. There are more, but it's hard to get seen. And you made the dream come true by giving me the chance to giving me an audience for my brick films. And there was a question I read, will there be a Dark Fantasy episode 3? I hope so. I have so many ideas. And right now I made a series called, oh God, what was it called?
You make too many series. You can't even keep them straight.
I made too many series. Right now I do a lot of horror shorts, like an anthology series. 3 episodes are out.
Tales from the Bricks.
Tales from the Bricks, thank you very much. My brick spin on Tales from the Crypt, and but I hope that there will be Dark Fantasy episode 3. I moved and I packed it all away in the process of episode 3, and then it stayed in the box, sadly.
Yeah, the moving is tough, but I get it, dude. But I'm just so excited that I get to share your content and that you're willing to. And I honestly, I don't. It's one of those things where it's like I don't understand why. It's hard to get views as a brick filmer. Your channel seems criminally underviewed, but sometimes like the algorithm is just not friendly. So it's
maybe I'm too violent. Maybe too many f-bombs.
Maybe.
It's my favorite word.
Yeah, it's a tasty one. So I hear you, man. There was questions about how Slag went back in time. I'll try to make it as like understandable as I can in just a short sentence. Slag itself is like the mass that grows in our universe on Earth, but it's all connected to a hive mind, which I'm again don't want to give too many spoilers, but it's connected to Krozox. That's the human word for it, and Krozox exists in more of an astral dimension. It doesn't exist like in our dimension, so to speak. So the rules for like how it can travel through space and time are different than we would typically understand. When the gang went back in time thinking that would help things, they kind of cut a hole through space-time. It's fourth dimensional navigation, if you will. They cut a hole through space-time, and that opened a doorway for Slag as an astral creature to kind of squeeze in there. And then if you remember in the medieval season, Vildane, who's a channeler, a wizard, and his apprentice Troy are attempting to enter the astral realm or communicate with it. Slag takes the opportunity to basically enter Troy directly and corrupt him, so essentially Troy himself acted as a gateway for Slag to enter the world in that time. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of convoluted. There are certain like theories and elements of the TLZA timeline that are hard to just explain verbally and function much better understood through the story itself, but it is a good question, and I hope that cleared things up. Have you seen the Castlevania anime? I have not, but I have friends who've seen it and just swear by it. Have any of you guys seen it?
I saw it. It is amazing. For all Netflix puts out that is mediocre, the Castlevania thing is great.
It's the redemption. Nice.
Hey, really quick, we do have an actor from the Void Wars here present.
Oh boy. Oh yes.
He's just gonna make a quick appearance. Say hello.
Lovely. Hey Margaret.
They're saying hello. I got my headphones on.
That's wonderful to see. Maggie, what character do you voice? And could you tell us just a little bit about yourself, I guess, and how you got involved?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Margaret. Hello, world. I played Dr. Zara. She is the one with a lot of red hair. She's the scientist. And I got involved because this guy here told me about it, and I thought I'd try it out.
Hey, you auditioned like everyone else.
I did.
She did get her role fair and square.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's my first time voice acting, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. Thank you, Margaret. It's such a treat to see you.
Yeah.
He was trying to sneak around back there. I was like, I'm gonna get you over here really quick.
Show your face. Yeah. It's been so. I'm honestly so excited to reveal the movie, not just for the fans, but like a lot of the actors. Like Margaret, Adam, Matt, even pretty much the entire cast. I haven't really shown you guys very much at all of what I have sent you some like massive files of content, but it's very unedited. It's just rough cuts, and none of us have even seen the whole thing in its entirety. So I'm just so excited for everyone to get to see that.
I'm just so excited to get the cast together.
Yeah.
And get them aware that it's almost done. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for Margaret, Nick, and Amanda, and just everybody. Yep.
Yeah. We've never had a proper in real life get together with the cast because it's like we audition separately, then we do the voice recordings individually. So when we're planning on doing a live theater showing, actually, hopefully in Bismarck. And I know Max and Sunny, I fully expect you guys to fly down for that. So
absolutely.
I will see you there. As well as everybody in the chat. I will see you in Bismarck, North Dakota in March of 23. Yeah, it's a pretty touristy hotspot, so getting a flight might be kind of tough. Well, it is time to show you guys what did I call it? Oh, the highlight reel. I feel like we'll go through that. Right before I play that, I did just want to give specific shout-outs to fans who I didn't shout out in the the Discord recognition or any of that, but these are just people whose names I see pop up again and again. And again, I could go on and on, but just want to give you guys recognition. Legging Leland, Cool Scorpion, Emotion, O-Dog, Burger Boy, Senor Chaparreras, Chris McNick, Brick Horizon Films, Animator X Studios, Gorby, Ethan Husky, Bomb Ninja 1, EAP Power, Loft Studios, and Nye Does Things. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of recognition there. So, without further ado, here is the highlight reel. All right, there you go. Twisted Bricks. The horror's just begun. Any reactions, thoughts? I see comments of the memories flowing back, and I gotta say, I agree.
It really did. I was just so excited when Chris was over at my house, and then we started playing D&D, and he was like, "I'm gonna go over and voice act for Christian's thing," and I'm like, "I would love to do that. Can you let him know I would like to do that?"
Yeah.
Just in time for the end of season 1. I was very excited.
Yeah, that's right. And I, up until that point, it had been me, and of course, Johan doing the soundtrack. But as far as actors go, it was me, Matt here, Chris, who voices Joe, and James Holland, actually, who deserves a shout out of his own because he was the voice for Matt. And just a group of friends getting together and doing some weird stuff, film wise, and just like having fun recording these random scripts. And again, at that time, it was all just for fun. It was fun and games, and just I had never asked friends to voice act for me before. That was a first, and then it just evolved from there. And then so Adam, when you came into it, I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. I have somebody who actually has acting experience who's like down to clown with this series, and it was just like super exciting.
I forgot that. I mean, so I voiced Slade for so long, but my favorite character to voice act was the Wizard. And I completely forgot about him until seeing that.
Yeah.
I because I was only doing Slade in the movie, I didn't at all think about season 2's Wizard. He was so much fun.
Yeah, people loved Corin, as they called him. There's one comment in particular that referred to him as a weed-smoking, fourth-wall-breaking wizard, which is more or less canonically accurate.
I loved Corin, and I have a hot take. Corin is Kyo. It's just...
Oh, interesting. A hot take. I have no comment on that either, but we have people saying Kevin is Kyo, Corin is Kyo. Who knows what the truth could be? Certainly.
I think Baran is Kyo.
Yeah, Baran he's the true Kyo. Just a few questions that people actually submitted prior to this whole event, like outside of the live chat, that I thought would be worth addressing. JP Stop Motion 590 says, something I've always wanted to know is, when you made the first 2 or 3 TLZA episodes, did you plan out the entire story then, or just sort of go with it? Also, I would like to know if you would ever consider revisiting the old one-off stop motions that you did. So when I started, again, it was fun and games. We were literally I guess I was writing episode after episode, one at a time. There was no real, I didn't know where things were going to go. I didn't know what was going to happen to Slade. I didn't know any of that. I was just like so it evolved very organically in that sense, which I wouldn't really recommend as a writing style, but it's just what we did. And then season 2, I was like, maybe I should actually try to what's the word? Create some kind of outline here so that the story has an actual narrative structure that makes sense. Revisiting the old one-off stop motions, there are so many things I would love to revisit, but it's just maybe when I'm frickin' 40 years old and I've told the Void War trilogy, I can come back to those, No.
There's one comment I saw where I'm actually getting some false credit, I think, if I understand the comment correctly, and I need to put credit where credit's due. Someone commented, it said my name and said Bloodbath is a banger, I assume they're referring to the track. And that was actually written and done completely by Christian. That's the background music for the second to last episode in season 1. So
God dang right.
Yeah, so there are a few pieces in the soundtrack that Christian did in season 1, season 2. There's nothing in nothing in the movie Great Horizons that you've done yet. We'll see.
True. I do like to. Yeah, I was fiddling around in the electric guitar quite a bit, so I was just throwing in my little riffs.
Yeah, in season 1, there's a few songs where Christian adds electric guitar on, and some of them I wrote the lines or I provide the background for, but Bloodbath is one where Christian created it in its entirety. That track.
Yeah. Episode 9 of season 1. Thank you, Johan. I appreciate that. I see Senor Chaparreras asked about cameras and lights. Very simply, I use a DSLR camera for just about everything. Sometimes use a C90 webcam, Logitech Pro webcam for shots where the camera just won't fit in there. 99% of stuff I use a DSLR. Canon T5i is the current one I used. I've used a Canon T3i, T2i. Those are very good for stop motion. I highly recommend using those paired with Dragon Frame. For lights, I have used the same 3 desk lamps for literally as long as I can remember for the vast majority of my shots. I also have some really bright LED lamps that come in handy if I need to create some really flood lighting or background lighting, or light up a green screen properly. And then I use Brick Stuff lights. That's a company that makes these teeny tiny lights that you can put inside studs and stuff. And Max, I believe you use Brick Stuff lights too, don't you?
I do. I think the same way you use it. I use them for the slacks I did in the Stories of Survival. Today I just finished a little treat for your channel where I revisit your universe, and I used it again, and sometimes for floors and houses.
Yeah, they work really well for my Great Horizons largely takes place in a spaceship, so those little blinking lights on the walls and stuff, Brick Stuff lights are so good for that. So that's that. Let's see, there was another one. Oh, I was amazed. The Lego King 99, I don't know if you're there right now, but you said maybe a look back on how you started on YouTube, like a reaction live stream of some of your old videos, and then he goes on to name some very old videos. These are live action videos, like Just in Case, which Matt was in Just in Case. You were like my
the mission guy.
Yeah, the mission briefer.
Turn around Agent in Case.
Yeah. Oh my God, I don't know if those might be unpublished or might be unlisted on YouTube, but
I actually just 2 nights ago. So my girlfriend is here. So I was looking through some old videos trying to find the old ones. Just in Case isn't up there anymore. The Nerf battle one is with Johan and when Johan was still bleach blonde.
Yeah.
And before his voice dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way back when. Yeah. When he was a little psychopath. Yeah. Those Outnumbered is the name of that one, I think. Yeah. But Just in Case, I play this ridiculous 13-year-old secret agent essentially. And it's called the Mission to Norway, because my family took a trip to Norway. Oh my god, it's so cringy, but it's really funny to look at. I might post those sometime soon because I feel like I'm secure enough with my masculinity that I won't feel bad about people seeing those ridiculous videos. But they reference Justin. Go ahead, Matt.
That guy was like a stuffed animal thing, right?
Yeah, the bad guy, it was Ted E. Tron, which is this little robotic stuffed bear. It's literally the stupidest crap that you can even imagine.
I think it was the most amazing thing ever made.
Yeah.
Back when we were making it.
It was a really fun experiment. We didn't do that much live action, but this one was actually a pretty cool production. That was fun. So there was a just in case. Your snow videos, like the Winter Iditarod. I don't know if any of you remember that. I know Johan does. The comedy videos, like that puppy monster video. Johan, that would be the monster creature from Black Meadow Bay with Freya, the poodle. Wow. I know, these are crazy old takes. And Snowman Attack, Pumpkin Slaying, and Nerf Wars. So some of those may ring a bell, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Lego King 99 because good lord, that's a deep cut. Jack Bauer, Sketchy 2 Tabs, is in the chat, so wanted to give him a shout out. All right, I think that answers. If you have any last questions, guys, in the chat, now is the time. I think we're gonna wrap this up. You guys in the Zoom call, is there anything you want to throw out there? Any message to the fans? Anything? Any insults you want to hurl, or like any shout outs, take backs?
How tall are you? Which one?
Yeah.
Collectively, I think we're about 30 feet, maybe.
Collectively, maybe closer to 31, possibly.
Yeah. What exactly is Kevin? Kevin he was built as a robot, and he's an AI that was made using organic tissue. So there is actually a human being's brain, essentially, that was integrated into his circuitry. So he's bionic in that sense. So he has as they say in the series, a biological component. He's not just mechanical. What he is after his corruption and his resurrection, that's harder to explain, and I'm not even going to begin. That might be revealed more later. But did you ever find out about the war that took place on your Discord server? Yeah, I do remember some drama in the early days. I think things have been pretty tame since.
Is it still canon that Slade ate a dog? Is that referring to the voice actor eating a dog? Because
you tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About that, man.
God, that's funny. Yeah, Slade eats a dog in the first series, in the first episode ever. This is even before I knew he was Slade. Yeah, I don't see any reason not to canonize that. Desperate times, desperate measures. Dogs are really just, they're as intelligent as like pigs. They could eat them. Don't cancel me. Do you have a miniature Warhammer army? I was super into Warhammer, the medieval one, and then I got into the Warhammer 40K and started ordering those miniatures, which my dad was not impressed with. He was all about the fantasy, and I was like, dude, they're space marines and they're space orcs. Like, does it get cooler? So obviously, Grey Horizons is heavily inspired by Warhammer 40K.
Yeah, I remember you and I talking about it just at length one day.
Yeah.
Before the creation of Grey Horizons.
Yeah, and you shared like lore videos with me that were really incredible.
Oh yeah.
God, Animator X Studios crunched the numbers, and he says if 6 of you total was 30 feet tall, you'd each be roughly 5 feet each.
Okay, we're actually a little closer to 34 feet taller.
Yeah.
I'm sure. 34, 36.
Yeah.
5'11", Christian and Johan are both taller than me.
Yeah.
Adam, you're like 7'3".
Yeah.
I might be 7'3".
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, okay. We're closer to like 100 feet tall total.
Yeah.
He caught us.
Slavic Viking Titans up here.
Yeah. How do you deal with finding time? All right. Last question. How do you deal with finding time to brick film, since you said one time that it's a way of life, for example? I'm sure life got in the way, like work or even social life, so how did you deal with that? My life is very weird and pretty unconventional. I got a degree to teach science, and the plan was to teach high school science. I learned pretty quickly that I definitely do not want to be a teacher, but the teaching license came in handy because now I can substitute teach. So what I do pretty much my lifestyle these days, and for most of Gray Horizons, has been I substitute teach high school students during the day. I just sit at my desk and I edit videos and I make sure they don't burn down the class. Then I come home and I animate for as long as I can stand, and as long as my wife can stand, and then just rinse and repeat the next day. That's literally my life. So that's how I like. And it's balanced enough so that I don't really get burnt out on animation, and I've been doing it for long enough. It's just kind of a habit. But that's your answer. That's how I do it. It's very, again, it's tough. I feel like from a creative perspective, you want to try to get a job. If you want to pursue like a life as a writer, as a artist, whatever it is, that like you have to start on your own and that you can't like market right away. If you can get a job where you can do your own thing while you're at work, that's huge. And you can like work 2 jobs at once almost. And it's impossible for everybody to have that. Those jobs are not super common, and often they don't pay super well, but it is one way to go about it. All right, you guys in the Zoom call, I'm going to shut up now. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add?
Happy New Year's from Corin.
Well.
And Slade.
There you go. Can you ask for more?
That's actually that's crazy for me to see. I mean, I know Matt does the voice, and but the character comes immediately. Wow, thanks for that, man.
Yeah, a gift. Merry Christmas.
A gift.
I think that's one. Again, it's so fun to be a part of this because there are these little things that are just like little treats. Where like Matt, I remember the first time you saw Slade, or you saw the actual minifigures, and you were like, "Whoa, this is weird," because you had only like seen him on screen. But when you actually are holding Slade in your hand, I think that was you. You were like, "This is really interesting. Like, he's tiny." It's like, yeah, dude. Yeah.
It's like meeting a celebrity almost. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, like it was like this thing I'm seeing only on a screen, only in animation. And suddenly it's like, oh, it's an actual physical thing that you can touch. I don't know.
Yeah, that's part of the joy of stop motion, I guess. It's like it is tangible, and you want to try to get your audience to forget that, during the actual viewing, but it is part of the charm for sure.
Just Happy New Year's and congratulations on 100K.
Yeah.
2022 was an exciting year, but I think 2023 is going to be even better.
The biggest year yet, I would say.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank everybody who's been in the chat, all the fans. It really is like, you guys are like, you breathe life into this. Like, there's something about when an artist can make whatever the heck they want, and it's cool. But when there's an emotional response from a community or from fans, like it turns it into a relationship. It brings it to life in a way that normally, it's almost sterile. But when people are responding to it, like that's the whole point of it, for people to respond emotionally, or just to be entertained by art. So it means so much to me that you guys stick around and watch. And for all of you guys in the Zoom call here, like each one of you mean a tremendous amount to me. And I sound like a freaking broken record, but it's so grateful and so excited for what the future is going to hold. My dream, as I've discussed this with several of you individually, is that the Void War becomes an IP. It becomes its own thing that even expands beyond brick filming. And I don't plan on really ever stopping, and I know that I have a sense that you guys are going to be along for the ride as long as it's going. So I just want to say thanks. Happy New Year to you all, and I hope you all have a wonderful 2023. Signing out.
Goodbye, everybody.
Adios.
Take care.
Adios.
Farewell.